In today's tutorial, I'm showing you how I take a simple photo and turn it into a beautiful and stunning thumbnail, perfect for getting noticed on YouTube. So let's get started. Welcome back, guys. My name is Shayda Campbell, and today we're going to be using PicMonkey. PicMonkey is an in-browser photo editing software. It was a lifesaver for me when I was getting started as a blogger and YouTuber, and I had no idea how to use Photoshop, and it remains one of my favorite softwares for photo editing to this day. And I just wanted to mention that today's video is not sponsored. PicMonkey has paid me in the past, but today's video I just made because I like sharing this simple photo editing DIYs with you guys. And you can find a link to PicMonkey in the video description if you want to check them out. So up in the second tab here, I'm already signed in to my PicMonkey account. I'm just going to upload a photograph from my desktop. It's just called thumbnail. This is it. I've got it sitting there ready to be edited. And what I want to do is really pump up what's already a good photo, but it takes a lot more than just a good photo to make a strong thumbnail. I want to add some text, I want to add some graphics, and that's what PicMonkey really shines and allows me to do. So over here on the left-hand menu, I have all my editing tools. The top one is edits. I would call this your basic edits, things like crop and straighten, the exposure. The next one down is effects, so you can throw cool effects on your photos if that's your thing. The third one down is the touch-up menu. We're not going to get into this today, but I do have a video all about how to airbrush with PicMonkey. Fourth menu is text. Of course, we want to add text. And then this next one down is all kinds of graphics, wonderful things for businesses. There are social media icons, cool logos, just all sorts of stickers and stuff that can be really, really useful if you're putting together social media graphics for a business or a blog or whatever. And then we can also get into basic shapes and overlays, just like hearts and circles. What I want to start with actually is adding exactly this, some sort of shape overlay, so that I can have a backdrop for the text that I'll add later. So I'm thinking maybe a white diamond would be a strong starting place. I don't always go with the first thing that I choose, but what I'm adding here is a diamond. I've changed the color to white, and then I'm going to fade it slightly so that it really integrates well with the photo. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add another square from my overlays menu on the left. But this one has a translucent center, or a center that can be translucent. You can see on the side here, I have all the color options. I can change anything. What I'm doing is just fading it the same amount as that first diamond. And yeah, just having a little fun with it, playing around. As I said, there's so many different overlays, but I'm choosing a simple diamond. And then I want to add some text. And you can see as I go through, they have all these wonderful handwriting type fonts, as well as serif and sans serif. But I think where PicMonkey really shines is in the creative or the cool fonts that you wouldn't find in a typical type kit like Photoshop or Word. So I want to add how I make my thumbnails. That's going to be the title of this thumbnail. It's very meta. Anywho, but I'm able to add these really fun hand-lettered fonts, and that just gives it that really human feel and very on trend as well, I think. So I'm playing around with those. Some of them I like a little better just because they're easier to read when they're smaller. And when you're thinking about YouTube thumbnails, you definitely want to think about, is this going to be a strong image when it's really tiny, because people are viewing them quite small. I use Nixie 1 a lot, which is the font that I have on the How I Make My right now. That's just a nice, simple, kind of looks like an old typewriter, so it also has a human feel or a nostalgic feel, which I really like. Now I've decided I'm going to delete that white diamond. I just think it looks a little too stiff, and I've come back into the overlays menu. I'm looking at some different shapes. These are obviously a little too busy, but I like those. I like the graphic nature of those. Coming down here, there's a whole section called brush strokes and brush work, and these are awesome. Again, it has this very human feel. There's watercolor textures, there's ink brush strokes. It looks like something that a graphic designer would come up with and sell on on the Adobe Marketplace, but I don't have to buy it. I can just come over here and get this. So I'm playing around with the color of this brush stroke and the size. As you can see, I've turned it into a nice peachy pink. I'm gonna rotate it so it fits better on the sketchbook. And then that kind of blocks out the painting that I've done, which I like. The painting was a little too busy. And now what I'm doing is I've gone down even lower in the overlays menu here on the left, and they have all these wonderful brush patterns. And I love adding the brush patterns to thumbnails. There's all kinds of like polka dots and lines and just funny little patterns. And they really give, again, that human feel to the thumbnail, but also they just add some visual interest, something that's sort of barely there, but adds a nice design element. And I can put them at any color. I can fade them if I want them slightly translucent, like I've done to the X's. These dots I'm gonna keep at full opacity, but just make them really light, bright colors. So they're part of the thumbnail, but they're also not overtaking it. The next thing I'm gonna do, I think is really cool. I want to get rid of all the drawings that are coming through behind my text and behind my brushwork. So I'm adding a rectangle. It's black, it's very black right now. First thing I want to do is send it to the back. So I'm using the layers palette here and I just drop it down. It goes behind everything else. And then to change the color, I open the color palette, use the eyedropper and click on the sketchbook to match the color. And now you can see that that rectangle color matches exactly the color of the sketchbook, and I have this nice clean image. Text is easy to read. It's very punchy and beautiful and perfect for a thumbnail. The only thing I want to do now is really, I think I just want to brighten the image up a bit, playing around with the color of these dots, but after that, the whole thing just needs to be brighter and whiter. And so I'm coming back over to the left-hand menu and playing around with the exposure. I'll up the brightness, I'll up the contrast. Now you can see that does change the color of that sketchbook page, but not to worry, it's a simple fix. It's just exactly what we already did. I click apply, then come back in here, grab that rectangle, go to the color, grab the eyedropper, click where we want to match, and again, it's a perfect match, and we have this nice, bright, light, and high contrast graphic image that's going to look good when it's small. The only thing I did decide was to change the text. I just went for a Times New Roman on the How I Make My. I often use Times New Roman or Nixie 1 for my serif fonts, and then I'm just sort of playing around with these overlays, getting the color exactly right, getting the placement exactly right, but otherwise, I'm quite happy with this, and this only took me maybe 15 minutes to make this thumbnail, and I really didn't have a plan when I started this project. To grab our image, all we have to do is come up here to export, give it a name. It's on high quality. When you go down to click export to computer at the bottom, you can see the file size. I don't need one quite that big, so I can click medium, but just choose the size of the file that you need, and it will go into your downloads. You can also specify where you'd like that image to go, but for me, the downloads folder is perfectly fine. And that's my thumbnail, and that's the thumbnail that you'll see on this video. I'm super happy with it. If you want to check out PicMonkey, click the link in the video description. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next Friday with a new video. Thanks for watching.